Good morning. It is Monday, November 4th, 2019, and it's time for the Monday News Brief. Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of the Monday News Brief brought to you by CDTTV, a part of the Central Dakota Times. I'm your host, Nate Iverson, and this weekend is the CHS Annual Fall Play. We're joined this week by CHS Fall Play Director Blake Wendt. We're going to be sitting down with Blake and discussing the fall play Clue and some of the things that go into pulling off such a large production. If you enjoy our online content and want to see more, you can visit our website, www.centraldakotatimes.org. We're also available on YouTube by visiting our channel, Central Dakota Times Newspaper. We'd love to have you hit the subscribe button and get any new updates as soon as we put it out. And as always, if you want to see this full story, other news, events, sports, and more, be sure to pick up your very own copy of the Central Dakota Times every Wednesday morning wherever newspapers are sold in Central South Dakota. Let's get to the interview. Good morning, CDTTV. I'm Nate Iverson and joined here with Chamberlain High School Fall Play Director Blake Wendt. Blake, how's it going?
Good. Good to see you. Yeah, absolutely.
So, this is your second year in the community, correct?
Yep. This is my third year in the community, second year doing the fall play.
Okay.
So.
Gotcha. So for those that may not know who you are yet, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I grew up in Lamar's, Iowa, ice cream capital of the world. If you've ever heard of Blue Bunny ice cream, best ice cream out there. I went to college at University of South Dakota, got my degree in math education, and I came out to Chamberlain to see all the opportunities for hunting and fishing and do a little teaching too. So it's been a great move. I love the community. I love it here, and I'm excited to be doing the fall play again.
Right on. So you're an outdoors guy, kind of.
Oh yeah, yep,
Right
yeah. I was corrupted from youth by my grandpa and my dad both. So yeah, I had no choice. But
right on. Well, you picked the best place for fishing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, so this is your second year doing fall play. So what is fall play this year?
The fall play this year is Clue. It's based on the board game, and then there's a movie that they did based on the board game as well. And those are kind of both wrapped up into this play that we're doing. So.
Sweet. So obviously it's based on the game. What exactly is it about? How do you make a story out of a board game?
Yeah, I've gotten that question a lot, and it's kind of funny too when kids will say, "Well, what's it about? What's the play?" And you say Clue, and they say, "Well, what's it about?" And you say the board game. They're like, "So it's really boring?" It's like, no, it's not. It's great. So they took some of the best things about the board game, some of the kind of murder mystery, the trying to kind of guess who done it kind of stuff, you know. And they took that and coupled it with the movie they made back in, I think it was in the 70s. It has like Tim Curry in it and the guy that played the professor on Back to the Future.
Oh, sure.
And they took that movie and kind of took some of the campiness of it and put it into this play. So it's equal parts murder mystery and comedy, which you'd think would be a weird combination, but it goes together pretty well, actually. And it's just a really fun play to watch for the audience. All
right, sweet. And I know the game has those interesting characters. Is that also reflected?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's no real backstory in the instructions for the game.
It's been interesting because we started, so all the characters from the game are Professor Plum, Mr. Green, Colonel Mustard, Mrs. Scarlet, Mrs. White, and Mrs. Peacock, and then the movie had a butler named Wadsworth, and then a maid named Yvette, and kind of a tongue-in-cheek name for the dead guy, which is Mr. Body. So they put that into the play as well. So we have 9 principal actors basically, and it's been challenging for the kids to make those characters their own, I think, because they're, you have an idea of those people from the game, right?
Right.
And from the movie, of course. But I think they've enjoyed the opportunity to, flex a little bit too, because last year was Mamma Mia, and everybody knows what those characters are supposed to do.
Right, exactly.
So I think that they've enjoyed being able to, there's a little bit more ambiguity with these guys.
Sure.
But
so room for interpretation is definitely there.
Absolutely.
All right, on. Let's just go ahead and get the other basic things. It's going to be at the Oklahoma Community Center.
Yep, Oklahoma Community Center, 7 o'clock on Friday and Saturday, the 8th and 9th of November.
Okay.
If you are a First Dakota member, there's also a First Dakota dinner theater on the 7th that if you sign up at the bank, you can go to that show. And ticket prices are $5 for adults and $3 for students.
Perfect. Good to get that out of the way right away.
Absolutely. Cheap entertainment.
That's right. Now, Clue itself, what made you decide to do Clue this year?
Well, we had about 3 different ones in mind, and looking at our cast, there were great things about each of the 3, but Clue was the one that we thought hit as many bases as we could. You know, you never, unless you write it yourself, you're not going to have it perfect for the people you have. But this one kind of got us closest to what we were looking for.
Okay.
So,
is it top secret information, or what were some of the other plays you were considering?
it's no, it's not top secret. I'll give you a clue. It was I know, right? So, Murder on the Orient Express.
Okay.
And that one, the reason we didn't end up going with that one is it was just the cast was a little smaller than what we had the talent for. We kind of have a philosophy of including as many people as we can, and so we wanted to make sure that we could get more people involved as much as possible anyway. And then there was also one that titled Flowers for Algernon, and that one was a good piece as well. But again, it highlighted the cast in a different way than we thought that we wanted it to go, I think.
Okay.
So we ended up not choosing that one, but you never know. I mean, it might be coming down the pipeline. So
Right on. Awesome. And then, we can take a break there for just a second because I can't read my own cursive. All right, cool. We're good to go. So you were just talking about auditions and, some of the characteristics that kids can take. What are some of the things you look for in a typical audition?
So the way our auditions are set up, the kids have a monologue that they have to rehearse and act through, and when they come in, and then we also give them an improv piece to see, how they kind of think on their feet, and also to, make auditions a little bit of an entertainment thing for us too. So we've got some really creative kids on those, by the way, but. So we do that. What we look for is a lot of character development. I think the main thing that we want our actors to have going into it, obviously they'll make the characters their own as they're going.
Right.
But just to understand that they can see the world from someone else's view and put themselves in those shoes and make sure that they can tell that story that's being told.
Sure. And then Tech Crew, how does that work out? Just to sign up? Or?
Tech Crew is a sign up and come ready and willing to work. So,
awesome.
Yep.
So how many kids are there as far as cast and then Tech Crew? What's the whole count?
So all total, we have about 40 kids.
Okay.
So it's split roughly half and half. There's a few cast members that also work crew.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say it's probably about 15 to 25 who usually work crew versus usually are in the cast. 15 cast, 25 crew.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And obviously you have to learn to crawl before you can walk and walk before you can run. So auditions usually in the past have started with, table reads. I think that's pretty much the standard everywhere.
Yep.
What does the rehearsal look like in every, stage would be the best way to put it?
So there's a lot of challenges with putting on a play without a theater,
Right.
So when we have to make everything every year, we're also, constrained by the schedule that Oklahoma has to make sure that we can, we're not interrupting their flow of things too.
Mm-hmm.
So what we usually do is we start at up here, usually in my classroom, and we do some table reads. That's usually the first 2 or 3 practices, just so everybody gets familiar with the script, they're understanding characters, what's going on. It's usually pretty rough, but it's a great opportunity for people to start playing around with things and
Right.
Get an idea of characters. This year we tried a lot of different accents, so everybody was kind of trying to do their own that they were good at, and then it was like, well, are you sure that's what your character would do? And we had one character that is Russian/American, and he was doing a very interesting mix-up of those two, and finally I think we arrived at a really good one. But so that process is a lot of fun for the kids, I think, to start understanding where their character's coming from and what they should sound like. And then we move from up here, we start rehearsing a couple things, blocking a few things, just rudimentarily. And then we move over to the OCC. We have a weekend where we just take Saturday and we move all our stuff over there. Once we move all our stuff over there, then we start practicing there. We usually practice cast in one room, and then the crew starts building the stage and everything in the other room. And,
Okay.
when we get to this time in the year, we like to be out on stage and have everything ready to go.
What are some of the challenges? Obviously, I'm guessing moving everything over there is one. There's no real space. But besides that, what are some of the challenges about putting on a play, and maybe Clue in specific?
I think one of the big challenges that you always run into is making whatever vision you have for the play match up with what the actors have. Because if you make it a process where you're telling them everything, it's not going to be very creative. And so there's a lot of flux, I think, built in, and you kind of get this give and take sometimes between the director and the actors, where they come up with a great idea and it's like, yeah, let's run with it, and then also having that moment where it's like, let's try this. And I think that's a challenge at first to get right, but we have a lot of really seasoned people with us, and I think they understand that balance really well. And we have fantastic actors out there on cast. So
you're just piping this thing up, man.
You have to go, absolutely.
So we talked about some of the challenges that you're facing with Clue and just more of the general things about putting on a fall play in Chamberlain in specific. I'm guessing you have probably some lessons you've learned in past years with productions. Have you applied any of those learnings to Clue?
Yeah, I've been in productions in the past. I've and then directed last year's. And I think the thing we learned the most, especially going from being in productions to directing them, is how much thinking goes into just trying to make sure that everybody can be seen. We learned last year how easy it is to lose people on stage, on accident, and so that's one thing we've learned. I think another thing that's difficult is when we really don't rehearse on our stage until the last week and a half, and and that makes it difficult because you can do your best to block everything out, tell everybody where everything is, but until they're actually physically doing it, it's different, and even last night we were practicing and had a wall that wasn't quite right, and the whole thing was like, just freaking everybody out, and it's like, it's okay, guys, but I think that's probably the biggest thing, is just transitioning from a small space where you're practicing without any props, any blocking, any set, to being out on the big stage, set, props, everything, and getting that all right is sometimes a challenge, but it's a fun challenge.
That's what rehearsal's for.
Absolutely.
There you go. Blake, it's been a great interview. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap it up?
Come out to the fall play, Oklahoma, the 8th and 9th of November. It'll be a fantastic show. We've got wonderful, wonderful actors that do an outstanding job with this. It's funny. It's mysterious. There's some tongue twisters in it. There's everything you'd want. So come out. Tickets are $5 and $3. You won't find better entertainment for a cheaper amount of money.
Sounds good to me, and we'll put some of the information in the descriptions below, or if it's in Facebook, it's going to be above. Mr. Wendt, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Nate.